Morning. Happy Friday. Hey, I'm glad to be on here chatting with you guys. I hope that you are teed up to have an awesome weekend. There was a thought that I was having lately, and it really came about from parenting. And I thought about this concept. You can't offer what you don't have. You can't give to someone else what you don't already possess. And so how does that impact our lives and our relationships? Well, I think what it comes down to is you and I have a duty to skill up at life, at whatever areas in which we find ourselves not flourishing and thriving. It's our responsibility to not just assume that that's going to happen passively. Well, someday I'll be a better communicator. Someday I'll have more patience. But instead, we got to go out and seek that. It's not enough to just acknowledge that we don't have it, but we really have to be determined and adamant about, okay, this is an area in my life in which I notice some weaknesses. So I need to work to improve that. So what do you think? Do you see people around you doing that? When you hear friends and coworkers that are struggling in, some area of their life, whether it's their finances or how to parent teenagers, that's hard, right? There are volumes written on that. Or maybe it comes down to they're struggling in their marriage. And so many times, and I've been there, so many times we sit around and talk about how bad it is, but we don't do anything about it. And so then nothing ever changes. You know what they say, right? I didn't invent this. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So what's that look like? How do we do that? Well, I call that skilling up. And the reason that it came to me lately was because there were opportunities, teachable moments with our children. And I was looking at how Megan and I parent. And over the past 4 years, we've really invested a lot of time in studying God's word, in reading books, in listening to multiple pastors' podcasts. Shout out to Pastor Danny at Emmanuel Church, where we go. But we do consume some other content because it's all good. There's so much good stuff out there. And so it occurred to me because I had one of my children came back from playing basketball at the neighbors, and he was upset because he had bet his sibling $75 that he could beat him in a game of basketball after he spotted him like 19 points, and they were going to 21. And as luck would have it, baby bro scored a bucket. So now we're just in huge disarray because there was another brother there, and he was apparently siding with the younger brother, and he wasn't actually spotting him 19 points. He was spotting him 17 points, and it was a big mess. And he was even given 75-1 odds. So if he won, he was only going to get paid $1. I don't condone gambling amongst children, but this is how brothers interact. So there was a big discussion, right? And I'm sitting there. I should have put on my judge's robe. I'm sitting there arbitrating this and just trying to break this down. Like, where did this fall apart? And it occurred to me that pride was involved. And Proverbs says pride goes before a fall. So I say all this to tell you the next thing, which is, as I was parenting him through this, we started discussing pride and how God hates pride, and pride is ugly, and pride is everywhere within us. Right? I mean, C.S. Lewis says that what a lot of people refer to as self-respect is really just pride. But we talked about this. We talked about how pride goes before a fall. And I said, hey, look, I've fallen a lot of times in my life. And if I look back and I'm honest, pride was there first. And so it was just this beautiful teachable moment. The crying subsided. Baby brother, I said, do you really want to take his $75? And he probably felt the pressure of dad, like looking at him like, do you really want to take his $75? And he's like, no. And so there was appreciation for not taking my $75. And I wouldn't have sanctioned that bet anyway, but I thought it was an opportunity to teach. The point is that I could not have offered that bit of wisdom, reference it to the Bible, if I myself hadn't been growing and learning over the past 4 years about what the Bible does say, and learning about life, and learning how to parent children, and studying each of these boys so that I can give them the direction that each individually needs. They're not all the same. I study my wife so that I know how to love her better, so that I know her areas of vulnerability, and so I can try to step lightly around those. I still screw that up sometimes, but I study that. But I wouldn't do that if I hadn't spent the last 4 years trying to figure out life, trying to learn how to do life better. My point to you is, you can't offer another person, a friend, a spouse, a coworker, a child, you can't offer them something that you don't have. And so if you are not constantly skilling up, A, you're missing opportunity, and B, I feel like you're not fulfilling your obligation. Like, that's just my personal opinion. I'm so big on our need to continue to develop that I feel like it's not just optional. It's not just bonus. It's the meat of the matter that I have to continue. We talked about it before. I have to continue to iterate new versions of Dee Bonnie so that I'm a different husband and parent and friend and community participant in 5 years than what I am now. And unless I'm acquiring new skills and refining what I have, that's just not, it's not going to happen. I'm going to stay the same. So my challenge to you is, figure out 2 areas of your life where you need to skill up, and go buy a book or get with a mentor, have somebody help walk this out with you so that you can pour into other people. Maybe personal development isn't even about me and you. It's about the people who surround us. Like, I have to develop so that I'm more effective. Guys, you can do this. You can learn to communicate with your spouse. You can learn to handle your finances better. You can learn health and wellness, all of it. It's learnable stuff, but it does not happen when we're just sitting on our tushies binging Netflix, which I also like to do. All right. I love you guys. Have a good weekend. Listen, on YouTube, click subscribe. On Facebook, like our page. Share this via YouTube link. Share it via Facebook. Get this information out to other people, because marriages around you are hurting. And we all have these little embers there that are just burning, but they're not ignited, right? And so we just need to fan those embers so there's combustion, so that our lives continue to improve. All right. Have a blessed day. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you Monday.